It's Friday, and welcome to a new edition of Win TV. I'm your host, Denise Rollard Barnes, publisher of the Washington Informer, and we're always so happy to see you here to join us for our digital video broadcast every Friday, noon to 1, here on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We're going to get into all that in a minute. Again, I'm your host, Denise Rollard Barnes, and I hope you've had a chance to pick up a copy of this week's Washington Informer. I always like to show you the paper. Again, as you know, you can probably say it with me. We're still printing. So we're still a newspaper, and we're so happy when you all have picked up a copy and had a chance to see all the great news that our staff, our reporters have been covering, as well as this week's issue. I'm just trying to find the cover for you. Every month, at the last week of the month, we print the bridge. And so that's on the inside as well. And for those of you all who are forever young, the bridge is for you. So I hope you enjoy that, as well as all the stories that are in this week's Informer. And you can also read the digital edition online at washingtoninformer.com. We hope that when you go there too, you'll also subscribe so that you can get all of the news sort of on our website on a daily basis. So in our last issue of The Bridge, I think it was a really great issue, but this one is really, I think, top notch. And so I'm not going to tell you what's in it. I just want you to go and get a copy and check it out. If you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and hit share so your followers can see the broadcast. And if you're watching on Twitter, be sure to follow us and we'll follow you back. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Washington Informer TV. That's one word, Washington Informer TV. And I can't stress enough, and I'm going to do it on every broadcast, to say to you, every person that follows us or subscribes helps the Washington Informer. Some people say, everything is free. The newspaper's free. Your Win TV program is free. All of that's free, and it is. But it's advertising that pays our bills. And the advertisers want to know, are people watching? Are they reading? So all we can do is give them the numbers. And if our numbers will only go up if you follow and subscribe not only on the online edition, but also follow us in print. So I want to thank those of you all who have been doing that. Thank you for all of you who keep watching. We're almost a little over 2 years. Is it 2 years, Shelby? A little over 2 years doing Win TV. I call it the COVID baby. So we're continuing to produce the content. We're going to stop for a minute and see a little video on Black love, and I'll be back in just a second.
I'm trying to figure out what's the matter with us. All this evilness among black on black. Why? What is going on? To know better is to do better. You heard me?
Recognize that. Black folks have got to love each other. This Black Love Festival should be every single day of your life. You should be loving somebody black, starting off with yourself.
You gotta love somebody, starting off with yourself. What a great message. What a great message. And yes, the Washington Informer is one of the sponsors of the Black Love Festival. And I think it's a perfect time for that. We cannot spread or share enough love safely among ourselves. And so I am so happy that we were able to show that to you. You see that the Black Love Festival will be held on September 3rd. This is festival season. And it's really good because we've not been able to get out and get around and share time, space, enjoy music, some other things we're going to talk about on the program. So check out the Black Love Festival on September 3rd. So we'd like to extend our congratulations to professional golf instructor and Hall of Famer Ray Savoy, who is a fixture on the grounds of the Langston Junior Boys and Girls Club, who was inducted into the District of Columbia State Athletic Association yesterday at the Langston Golf Course. Mr. Savoy has been teaching golf for years. He has a program for young people during the summer where he's training them. I think it's Golf, Not Guns was a program that he started there. And so he is very, very deserving of this honor. And we were certainly glad to be out there to capture that moment with Ray Savoy. Our staff reporter, James Wright, who covers a lot of what's happening in DC, and in fact, just this week wrote a story about the DC Medicaid contract, received an award last night from the Seat Pleasant Police Department for strong leadership, courage, and exceptional service. You know, we've had James on the show several times. We're so glad that he's a part of our staff. Many of you know him because he covers DC politics and business and other subjects from time to time. So congratulations, James Wright, award well deserved. And finally, and sadly, we're saying farewell to our Prince George's County editor, William Ford, who is moving on from the Washington Informer. We wish him much success in his endeavors and want to say publicly how much we appreciate all of the contributions that he's made to the Washington Informer, not only covering specifically Prince George's County, but sports in some other areas. You know, when you work for the Black press, you wear more than 5 hats. And William has done a great job with that, but he's moving on maybe to bigger and better things. You know, who knows? We'll let you know when we know. But it's been a pleasure working with him over the last 7.5 years. The first day of school for DC Public Schools is Monday, August the 29th. But Thursday, September 1st, will be the first day for pre-K students. So we will be seeing a lot of young people heading to school, mostly by foot. The first day of school for Prince George's County Public Schools is also Monday, August the 29th. So as we see these young people in our communities, we want you to consider making sure that they get there safely. And I'm talking about those of you all who are driving through the streets of our city, driving through the streets of the county, either Prince George's, Montgomery, Northern Virginia, wherever you are in the region, wherever you are in the country, if you're watching this, wherever you are in the world, please drive safely and take special care. We're in school zones. We do not want to lose any of our children because of our careless or bad driving. Let's put it that way. We hope that these students will have a very safe and fun school year. And we want to hear about a lot of learning going on. We will, as you know, All right, we had a little technical difficulty, so we had to do a little switcheroo, and we're going to keep this program going. I don't have the script in front of me anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to Curtis with our news broadcast, and we'll be back in just a minute. Thank you.
This is Win TV News, bringing you the news that matters. Kelly Goodlett, one of the former Louisville police officers charged with falsifying a search warrant that led to the murder of Breonna Taylor, reportedly plans to enter a guilty plea on Tuesday. Earlier this month, the U.S. Department of Justice charged Goodlett with conspiring with former Detective Joshua James to falsify the search warrant for Taylor's home and to cover up their actions afterwards. Also charged are current Louisville Metro Police Department Sergeant Kyle Meany and former Detective Brent Hankinson. Goodlett, if convicted, faces up to 5 years in prison. Former Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein was granted an appeal on Wednesday, more than 2 years after he was convicted of third-degree rape, among other crimes. The ruling comes from New York State of Appeals Chief Judge Janet DeFure. A spokeswoman for the Manhattan District Attorney's Office declined comment when asked for a reaction to the appeal being granted. Doug Wigder, an attorney who represented the victims of the Weinstein trial, said that he is confident the appeal would ultimately be rejected, saying, quote, "Weinstein is a desperate man, but we are confident that the New York's highest court will ultimately reject his appeal." President Biden announced Wednesday that he will cancel $10,000 in federal student loans for millions of borrowers, following through on a campaign promise to address the burden of student debt. Borrowers who earn less than $125,000 a year or $250,000 for couples who file taxes jointly will be eligible for debt cancellation. Pell Grant recipients who make up the majority of student loan borrowers will be eligible for an additional $10,000 in debt relief for a total of $20,000. Biden is also extending the pause on federal student loan payments for the final time through December 31st, where it had been previously scheduled to expire on August 31st.
So there's such thing, Sonny, as you know, called technical difficulties. And it starts when you forget to put the plug in the wall. So I am back. I want to thank Curtis for that broadcast, and I want to thank you for joining us. We have Sonny Sumter, who's going to be talking to us about the upcoming DC Jazz Festival. Sonny, thank you so much for joining us.
It's always good to be with you, Denise, and thank you for having me on Win TV.
Yes, our pleasure. It's the first time that's happened, and I'm frazzled right now. But anyway, yeah. So let's talk about the Jazz Festival. It's coming up starting the 31st. Is that correct?
It's a 5-day festival that kicks off Wednesday, August 31st at the Howard Theater, opening night.
You've been doing the Jazz Festival. Let's go back a little bit for some time. Let's talk about the history, how it got started, and sort of how it's expanded, which I think is what's so exciting about it.
It is exciting. And, in 2004, Charlie Fishman, the founder of the DC JazzFest, and his beautiful wife, Stephanie Peters, actually started the Jazz Festival, then Duke Ellington Jazz Festival, on a paper napkin in Adams Morgan at Cashin's. And they got, Charlie managed Dizzy Gillespie for many years. And when he got home, he said, why isn't there a current jazz festival? Now, Bill Worrell had done a great jazz festival in his time. The Spellmans, A.B. Spellman and his wife had done one. Other folks had come and really had done great festivals, but nothing had been happening for a few years. So Charlie, with some seed money, started a jazz festival in 2004 with 12 concerts along U Street. And from there it grew. We used to be down at the mall. You probably remember that. We used to do free outdoor events in September out at the mall, right at Sylvan Theater. And then in 2009, we changed our name to DC Jazz Festival and moved to June. And so we were a 10-day offering with the culminating event always around Father's Day. So it became a Father's Day tradition for about 10 years. And, the pandemic changed everything for us. I think, imagine. Once we went virtual in 2020, and then we had the September event that was so successful at the Wharf, we got some great advice from the city, some other stakeholders that have been holding our hand from the beginning that said, let's move. So we made the permanent shift to move to Labor Day weekend.
Well, it's a good weekend, although people are still traveling, but a lot of people are coming to DC. And so, and people are ready to get out. They're ready to have fun and to congregate and to celebrate. What do you have in store for the Jazz Festival for this year?
So the good news is that we're still citywide. We are a smaller festival than we have been in over the years. So we're down to 5 days from 10, but we still have fantastic events starting at the Howard Theater. Then we're going to be at Tacoma Station the next day. We're at Eaton, DC, downtown. We're doing, definitely want to talk about Anacostia and the great partnership that we have with the Anacostia Bid, because we're doing Jazz Meets Go-Go over there on Friday the 2nd. And then we've got the Wharf. We've got the Wharf on 2 days on Saturday and Sunday. I should also mention that we've got an opening concert at All Souls Church on Friday. It's a prelude to Jazz Fest.
Oh,
this
nice.
that's going to be great this evening, but it's sold out. But I do want to give a plug to the Bohemian Caverns Jazz Orchestra in Io because that show is going to be spectacular. It's already sold out.
So is the Bohemian Caverns going to open for the show?
So there, we decided to do this prelude, and we've done this over the years. That's such a great question, Denise. We've done this over the years where we've reached out to our partners around the city and said, "Hey, can we do something to sort of a prelude to Jazz Fest?" We've done it at the Phillips Collection in the past. So this year we decided to do it with All Souls Church. A good friend of mine is over there, Rochelle Rice, a fabulous singer. We all love Rochelle. But we're bringing an amazing singer from Howard University, recent alum, that will be singing with the Bohemian Caverns Jazz Orchestra.
Wow, nice, nice. It's, I think about the history of DC, and as you mentioned, Duke Ellington and some others, who really, we have certain artists that kind of put a stamp on DC's entertainment or music scene, and we don't know where we are right now. So when you talk about Bohemian Caverns, you talk about the Bohemian Caverns jazz group and some of the other venues. It's sort of like that piece that connects the past with the present and maybe the future, and especially as it relates to jazz. Have you observed whether the jazz scene in DC is growing, or where is it? What's this? I mean, we know that go is DC, but jazz is DC is jazz too. Talk a little bit about that.
I'm so glad you asked that. My grandmother, I'm going to always nod to her, is always talking about, past, present, future, and they should all meet. And I think jazz really does that well. DC happens to be one of the international jazz hubs in the world.
Mm.
And so while people may think that jazz is a has-been kind of music, I would just differ and say, no, it's a thriving art form. There's so many people that love this music. We have jazz has a great audience, and a lot of them are right here in DC or in the DMV, and others are coming to DC from all around the country and even the world. So I think jazz, because of the universities here in DC, Howard University and their rich jazz program, UDC's program led by Alan Johnson, George Washington University, American, George Mason, so many of the colleges have outstanding jazz programs that people from around the world come and study, and then they live here. And so they're bringing their culture, right? So we've got, Brazil has always had a great, nice little, Brazilian jazz scene here in DC over the decades. Latin jazz has been great. Even the African world music scene, the Ethiopian community has done an amazing job with incorporating jazz with their folk music. So I think, jazz is such a lively celebratory art form that, I think it's thriving, and Jazz Fest is just playing our role to make sure that it continues.
So how can people get tickets?
So first of all, Jazz Fest is primarily a free festival.
That's
So
good
if you
news.
go to the wharf, you can sign up for a free ticket on Saturday and Sunday, but you should go now because tickets are almost sold out for Saturday. We've gotten
That's
such
good
great
news.
response.
Mhm.
So please go to dcjazzfest.org, sign up, go look at the lineup, look at the schedule, and find what works for you. Because jazz, there's so much music under the jazz umbrella, from gospel to big band to free jazz to neo soul to Latin, so much great jazz. The other thing is Arena Stage we're partnering with. We just moved our home to Arena Stage.
Wow,
So
nice.
Jazz Fest is now at the Arena Stage, has an office there, and we are presenting Regina Carter. She's doing a project called Gone in a Phrases of Air, which is about displacement. Her family was, she comes from Detroit. Her family was displaced in Detroit, and it was called the Palisades, and their city was just wiped off the map. So similar to what's happening with Berry Farms, right? So after this incredible concert, we're going to have a post-panel discussion about the displacement. And we're going to have DC Zone, a lot of DC Zone on that panel talking about Berry Farms and other communities in DC that have this issue of displacement that we think may have happened in the 60s, right? But is very relevant today.
Very much
We're going to
so.
unpack that after the show. And then Diane Reeves, but her concert's already sold out, but I love her so much, so I got to
do
give
too.
some love always to Miss Reeves. And then the next day, we're doing a tribute at Arena to Roy Hargrove. His documentary has come out. So we're
Wow.
going to feature the film, and then we're going to have a post film discussion. And Gordon Chambers, who's a very good friend of mine, who's from New York. You may know Gordon, great singer-songwriter with hits that, from Anita Baker and on. He's also an amazing singer, but he's a journalist, and he's, quite understands jazz, has quite expertise in the history of jazz. So he's going to lead that discussion. That is that ticket. Please go and get, if you are interested in Roy Hargrove and his history, sign up to get tickets for that, because that's also a show that will sell out. That's
And so all of those that you just mentioned are going to be at Arena
at
Stage?
Arena Stage. Yes.
Nice. Okay. All
And then
right.
afterwards, you can come to, at the wharf, there are 3 outdoor stages: Transit
Mhm.
Pier, District Pier, Rec Pier. And then there's an indoor stage, Union Stage, for indoor concerts. And then there's a small youth ensemble stage that's called
Nice.
the Levine Stage, thanks to Levine School of Music for underwriting that stage.
So where's the venue in Anacostia?
So the venue is going to be the Big Chair, right there at the Big Chair, right across from Busboys and Poets. In that enclosed area there, they will have an outdoor concert featuring Jogo, but also have marketplace and all kinds of fun activities for families and singles.
Right.
So, and I want to give it up to Christina Ludis and the Anacostia Bid for partnering with us every year around this. We definitely want people to come up. I just talked to Elijah, who's the lead of the Jogo Project, and they're very excited about coming back to bring
It's
jazz meets go-go.
You definitely have an exciting lineup this week in a lot of places. And that's the other thing I think, is to encourage people to explore other neighborhoods and hear great music. A lot of times we get stuck into our own little, world of the neighborhood
Mhm.
within where we live. But to hear some great jazz, you might have to go across town or go to the
That's right.
wharf. I think that's a really good way that you've been able to spread the music across the city. So again, you said just about everything is free, but you need to get those tickets right away. So we are going to put that up again to make sure that folks will do that. Any other highlights you want to share with us, Sunny?
Well, I want to thank the Washington Informer. You are a great partner, have been for years. So I definitely want to give it up to you and thank you for all of just your community engagement around this great city. I can't thank you enough, Denise, and it's a pleasure working with your team year after year. The Jazz Festival is made possible because it is a community endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
And it is really because so many people have wrapped their arms around us. We don't have a big budget at all. And in fact, the New Orleans Jazz Fest in Newport, their budgets are 7-8 times larger than ours.
Yeah.
But how we make what we do possible is because of partnerships like yours. So we want to encourage everybody to come out there. And the tickets that are ticketed, they're moderately priced. So do, if you can, buy a ticket as well, because those tickets really support the artist. So come on out and let's get jazz on in DC next
Speaking
week.
of that, I just want to say that, ask you this question quickly, because you mentioned, Montreal, you mentioned some other venues. I know there's the South African Jazz Festival. There are jazz festivals all around the world, and there are people all around the world that follow those jazz festivals. Have you come across anybody that has actually traveled the waters and said, this is we are coming here for this event this year because we love jazz festivals?
Absolutely. And that's such a good point that you raised, because people will go to another country to get their jazz on. I
Mm-hmm.
know I'm going to Umbria last year. I went to London this year. I've been to the Cape Town Jazz Festival, which is fantastic.
Right.
I think you're right. It is such an experience that people come. Yes, we've had people coming from Africa, definitely I've had friends come from Ghana, folks that have come from Nigeria, especially when we had Femi Kuti. Remember that? That was
Yes.
fantastic. People that are coming from Paris, Canada, because we have an international component. This year, we're featuring artists from Taiwan, from France, from Canada, from the Bahamas, from Cuba. And so because we have that rich international scope in our programming, and I want to give it up to Willard Jenkins, our artistic director, for really programming an exceptional festival this year. I think because of that, people do come from all over the world, and they come up to us and say, hey, they shout out, I'm from Ghana, I'm
Right,
coming all
right.
the way. So it's a wonderful experience. And look, at Destination DC, Elliot Ferguson loves it.
I can imagine.
He
Yes.
wants to make sure that this is an international festival.
I was thinking about
international
Elliot
destination.
when I asked that question, because I know he's out traveling around the world getting
Mhm.
people to come to Washington, and the Jazz Festival is one of those events to sell. Sonny, thank you so very much for being with us and for sharing this. And hopefully I will see you at one or more of those venues. And we want all of our viewers to make sure that they go and enjoy this great jazz um, that you are presenting over the next few days. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All righty. Have a good
Take
one.
good care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
So, yeah, I mean, festivals, gosh, this is a time to go out and actually have, and it's free. Most of it's free. So there's no reason for folks to say, I don't have anything to do this weekend. Not that it's this weekend, but we are going to talk about what is this weekend. And that brings us up to brings us up to another event, which is the Soul Mega the Soul Mega Beer Company is hosting a festival as well. So I am so happy to bring on Elliot Johnson, who is actually doing his Soul Mega event up at the Walter Reed venue. And we're going to talk about that as well. But Elliot, welcome to WIN TV.
Hi, thank you. Good afternoon. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I have like 20 things I can talk to you about.
I know, right?
And so I'm not quite sure where to start, but I do want to start with the beer company. I want to start there first, because we had someone on last week who actually makes their own vodka. And
nice. Which company?
Gosh, Chevy. She'll tell me, and I'll tell you in a second.
Okay, cool.
Because I haven't bought it yet, but Food Tray
Yes.
vodka. You
I'm
familiar?
familiar.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, and the great thing to know is that, we as African-American people are in this space and place and making a difference and making our mark. And so I want you to talk about your beer company and how you got into this.
Okay, sure. So my company is called Soul Mega. We actually started the company in 2018. We've been selling beer in the market in DC exclusively since 2019. But for me, kind of my beer journey, aside from growing up in a family, like a beer industry family, my father worked in the industry. I actually started making beer at home like 2011. So I've kind of been doing this for almost, I guess 11 years.
Wow.
So I started off doing homebrew batches at home as kind of a way to just like have a creative outlet from my corporate job. And I started getting really good at it. And my partner and I were making more and more batches. And we have two products in the market right now. Our flagship is called Worldwide American Pale Ale. And a pretty cool fact is that that actual recipe is one of our homebrew recipes that we've been making since like 2013.
Wow.
So that was the one we led first with. And we just released, we're going to be releasing again a black lager called Rhythm and Beauty. And those beers are sold throughout DC, but our probably our most popular account right now is Trader Joe's.
I know people that watch this show must think I'm an alcoholic because I'm always saying, I'm going to try that, or that's my favorite. And what did you call it? Dark and
Rhythm and Beauty is our
Rhythm
our
and
black
Beauty.
lager.
Yeah, I like a dark beer. I like dark and sort of robust beer. So
it's like a medium roast coffee. It's not very heavy. I think it's a great beer, and I can't wait to bring it back out in a couple weeks.
Oh yeah, I can't wait either. So
we'll have it on draft at MegaFest though.
Wonderful. So that's where I want to go now. I want to talk about MegaFest.
Cool. MegaFest, yes.
Right. I want to talk about that. That's coming up tomorrow.
Correct.
At Walter Reed. So tell us what that is.
So MegaFest is a concept that I kind of been thinking about for a long time. And it's a celebration of our 3-year anniversary. If you recall, we started the company in 2019. COVID hit around March. So our first year anniversary, all we could do is look at Instagram Live. And then last year, with the 2-year, restrictions were just starting to ease back up. So we kind of had like a little like mini tailgate at Sandlot. But this was always my vision, to take like different cultural aspects of DC and the beer industry and kind of smash them together. So MegaFest is a celebration of our 3-year anniversary that kind of has a block party and beer festival component met together. So we're going to have food trucks, We got 4 local DJs, and we've got 5 other Black-owned beer brands that we'll be pouring samples to for all of our guests. So it's basically like just a fun party, like an outdoor day party.
What I like is the collaboration. You know,
Yeah,
we're
it was
always
important.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it was important for us to make sure that everyone got a chance to shine, especially some of the newer brands. So we've got 2 DC-based beer companies, including us. We have Urban Garden and Sankofa. And then we'll be pouring samples of 3 Maryland-based beer companies, Joyhound out of Baltimore, Black Viking out of Montgomery County, and Patuxent Brewing Company down in Southern Maryland.
That's amazing, you know, because there's some industries where we don't want to collaborate. We think we're competing with each other. And I love the fact that you all are doing that and you're presenting not only your brand, but the others. It's a real cool thing to do.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a pretty big, I mean, the industry in itself is pretty large. The craft beer industry nationally has about 10,000 microbreweries, and less than 1% of those are Black owned.
That was going to be my question.
Chance you get a chance to shine, I want to make sure you put the light on that for sure.
Nice.
And put DC on the map too, obviously.
That's important. You know, we're trying to do it with jazz. We've done it with go-go. We got to do it with beer as well. So
exactly.
You are representing. So what time will this take place tomorrow?
Yes, so it's going to be at the Parks at Walter Reed in the West Lot from 1 to 6.
You know, I grew up in DC, and when I was going, actually, I'll say, you know, Calvin Coolidge High School, nobody went on the grounds of Walter Reed because it was a military base and a military hospital. And now the gates are open and it's an entertainment venue. How did you decide to pick Walter Reed?
Well, you know, it kind of happened organically. I like that backstory you just gave because I kind of felt the same way. I'm from Chicago, but I've been here. I went to Howard undergrad, and I've been here since 2005. And like even in 2005, I was like, Walter Reed's like a military, like veterans hospital site. But I kind of like the fact that it has that deep-rooted historical culture. It has such a big, like massive landmark as far as geography in DC. And like I thought that was perfect for the Soul Omega brand because we're influential in the culture and we want to be a big, massive landmark for the city as well. And so it kind of happened. So the vibe is a little historical. It kind of has like that old school, like collegiate, like, you know, architecture feel. And yeah, it just ended up working out that way.
Well, that's great. That's great. And so it seems as though, you know, again, you've got all these folks that are going to come. It looks like you're good. The weather's going to be pretty good. So we don't have to worry about that too much, which is really good. People will come and they'll be able to taste the beers. But you mentioned earlier, if people can get there, but they want to know more about Soul Mega Beer Company, where are some of the venues that people can get the beer?
Oh, yeah. So I can't name all of them, but if you go to soulmega.com and click locations, they'll be listed there. But just to give you a few, we're available in the Sandlot locations, Trader Joe's. We're available in La Cosecha and Union Market via Serenata, Destino, and Above Ground. We're also available at Mr. Braxton and Petworth. And for some of the more finer diners, Blue Duck Tavern and Bar Chinois are both Michelin restaurants that our beer is in. Selena Hotel, AC Marriott.
I love it. I love the fact that you can say, I can't mention them all, and not bragging, just stating facts. I can't mention them all.
I was trying to find the highlights. But yes, I don't want to forget anyone. But yeah, I think going to locations at soulmega.com would be your best bet.
Yeah, what was that journey like? I mean, getting your product into, let's say, a Trader Joe's. What was that like?
It's a very long process. It took us about 2 years to get that deal done. I want to also note that we have our own distribution. And so all the sales and delivery of product, it goes through me. So I guess it's being persistent. A lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, a lot of like sending samples to people. It's just a process of repetition and hard work and I guess dedication.
Well, I want to say congratulations to you. I remember when you were first beginning to do this. At least I heard a little bit about it, and here you are now having a festival and in all these different locations, these venues. I can go buy it at some of those places you mentioned. The can, is it can or bottled, or
Yes,
how does
it's
it
in
come?
can.
Cans. Okay. All right.
Yes,
I'm
it's
looking forward to
16
that.
ounce cans.
Okay, all right. Sherry's like, this is good. So, okay, I want to thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for
Again,
having me.
give us the location and time again before you go.
Great. Yes. 3-year anniversary for Soul Mega Fest tomorrow, August 27, on the west lot of the Parks at Walter Reed, 1 to 6 p.m. Unlimited beer, dope vibes, food trucks, fun.
And security.
Oh, yes. And yes, there will be security. Yes, it will be a secure location. It's a ticketed event. Although you will have reentry with wristband, you won't be able to get in without a ticket.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, it's not like the old Walter Reed, but it is the new secure Walter Reed.
This is not the old one. This is a different Walter Reed. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us. And we're getting ready to talk to some of the folks from over there right now, because again, this is a venue that people probably don't even know that they can go to for events. So I'm glad that you're sort of bringing that to our attention with this event. And we're going to talk to them about what else they use that space for. So Elliot,
Nice.
I know you got a lot to do to get ready for tomorrow, so we won't hold you any longer, but thank you so much for being with us.
All right. Thank you. You have a great day.
Okay, you too. Yep, we're going to jump right on into talking to Mark Simpson, who is the development manager there at Walter Reed. And Mark, welcome with Urban Atlantic. Okay, welcome to Win TV.
Great, thanks, Denise. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, so you heard. I mean, it looks like you're going to have a great event tomorrow with this Soul Mega Fest, with the beer festival. But that's just one of, I guess, many events that you all are trying to attract to the campus there. So talk about that.
Sure. Yeah, and certainly thank you for the opportunity. And we're very excited to be partnering with Elliot to showcase his business and the other Black entrepreneurs at the Soul Mega Fest. So the Parks at Walter Reed is a 66-acre redevelopment of the historic Walter Reed campus in Upper Northwest DC. And the development's a public-private partnership between the district and then the master development team of Urban Atlantic, Hines, and Trident Development. And the overall development program calls for about 3.1 million square feet of new growth with a mix of apartments, condominiums, and townhomes, a Whole Foods anchored retail center, and then a variety of arts and community spaces, including a 6-acre historically protected great lawn, arts plaza, a playground, and a 10,000 square foot dog park. And over 20% of our residential homes will be affordable. So we're really excited to be delivering such a vibrant development to this historic campus.
So, you know, we were there, the Washington Informer was there when the mayor announced that she was going to do this development. It seems like it was just yesterday. And here we are. So is Urban Atlantic the development company that's overseeing all of this development there at Walter Reed?
Yeah, so we're at Urban Atlantic. So we're a real estate development and finance company.
Okay.
We have a strong commitment to inclusive and community-driven development projects. And so we're proud to be a partner on the project. And so we are part of the master development team with our partners, Hines, and then our local CBE partner, who's Trident Development Group.
And tell me, if you know, Mark, what role did residents in the area, that's in Ward 4, like you said, Upper Georgia Avenue, but what role did residents play in kind of defining what they wanted to see there at Walter Reed? And what are some of the things that really stuck out to you all that said, well, this is what they wanted, this is what we've got to do, besides affordable housing? That's number one.
Yeah, no, and we certainly have a strong commitment to affordable housing. So there was a robust planning process that the district actually undertook when the Army made the decision to close the base in the mid-2000s. And so the district led over 100 community meetings and communications with stakeholders, elected officials, and then all of that culminated into the plan for the redevelopment of the campus. And then we as the master development team were then selected by the district to realize the master plan. So, our role as the developer is to sort of instrumentalize the plan that the community had put together under the guidance of the district.
That's good to know, because residents don't always feel listened to. And so someone comes in, there's this development, and then just like St. Elizabeth's, I think about
Sure.
the chapel over here on the St. Elizabeth's campus. I mean, I think they would have had to bulldoze and remove residents if they had not kept that chapel there, because they insisted that it stay. So, when developers listen to the community, I mean, I think you have a more positive and fruitful experience for everybody. So I know we're going to talk a little bit about the farmers market that you have up
Sure.
there. Want to share that with us as well?
Sure, yeah, and just to piggyback on that, I mean, we it's one of our core commitments as community-driven developers to incorporate feedback and input from the community, and we're constantly in contact with local neighborhood leaders and ANC officials, because we think that creating those kinds of community-driven processes lead to better outcomes for the community, creates opportunities for local partners and local businesses. And, we think ultimately, like, it can be a win-win for everyone, right? We can get the input, put together a great plan, and then realize a vision that meets many, many goals,
Right.
and serves a wide audience. So yeah, we're strong commitment to it. And the farmers market, I'm very excited to talk about. So that's a 8-week farmers market every Sunday morning. For the months of August and September. So we still have five markets left. And it's held at the Arts Plaza, which is located across the street from the Brooks condominium, which is one of our first new construction buildings and first for sale community on campus.
So I know that at a time now when food prices are going out of the roof, but this is a good time for farmers. So I'm sure that you're getting a lot of engagement there on Sunday mornings, I would think.
Yeah,
correct?
absolutely. And
Yeah.
we have a great mix of vendors, fresh produce, prepared foods, and great partnership with local businesses.
So are you all finished? What stage are you in now with the development of Walter Reed?
So we're very far along at this point.
Mhm.
About half of the total development program is either has delivered or is under construction. So planning for this project started in the mid 2000s, and funny enough, we're actually planning for the end of the project now, or the final phases. So we're still a few years off from breaking ground on those final phases, and then they'll take a couple years to complete. But certainly after many years of planning and hard work from our community partners and our development partners, we're looking towards the end. It's very exciting.
And so the venue is a place where people can host events like So Mega Fest. Can you talk about some of the other events you've had there, or what's coming up?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we are in the middle of our community events calendar. So we this year are planning to host over 100 community arts events, the majority of which are free.
Mhm.
Our events started in April and will continue through December. We'll hold feature jazz nights, movie nights, free exercise classes. Some events that are coming up that I'm really excited to share with the folks who are watching are actually tonight we have a happy hour event on the Arts Plaza, which will feature salsa themed DJs and some free dance lessons. So if anyone's looking to boogie a bit, our next movie night is going to be September 17th, Saturday, September 17th, and that will feature Respect, which is a biopic about Aretha Franklin's career. And then our next large music event is the Down in the Reeds Music Festival, and that's going to feature a wide array of local and national musicians. We'll have food and beverages, community arts, programming, and vendors. You can see the calendar here on the screen, and then also if anyone's interested in learning more, looking at the full calendar, they can go to theparksdc.com/events.
That's great. So are you saying, I know that the events are free, but if an organization wanted to host an event there, what's that process like? Do they contact Urban Atlantic? Are there fees for that? And I'm not asking you to tell me what they are, if there are, but yes, no, that kind of answer.
Sure. So the best way to get in contact with us is actually through social media. So our events team also manages all of our social media communications. And we love partnering with groups such as Elliott's for the Soul Mega Fest. And we're always looking for opportunities to collaborate. We can help facilitate with venue and facilities. And so I'd encourage anyone who's watching or knows anyone who might be interested in utilizing some of our spaces for events to reach out to us on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, and they can learn more about ways that we can collaborate.
Good. And also, I mean, I can't believe it, but summer's almost over. We're going in the fall, and then there's winter. What do you host winter events as well?
Yeah, so we have some events in fall, and our event season culminates with our holiday tree lighting and menorah lighting towards in December.
Okay.
And one thing that that the master plan calls for is identified some buildings that could be used for community arts and event spaces, and so we're actively in conversations with some arts groups with ideas on how to program those spaces.
Wonderful. Well, Mark, thank you so very much for being with us. As I tell everybody, you've got a home here at Win TV. So if there's ever anything you want to share with the community about what you're doing for the community up there at Walter Reed,
Sure.
Just reach out. You know how to reach Chevry. And we'd love to have you back to know, what other activities are happening there. So we appreciate you spending this time.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to be here, Denise. And absolutely, I look forward to coming back soon. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you. Have a great Soul Mega Fest tomorrow.
Yeah, we will.
All righty. Thank you. We're going to roll now because you all know this is the end of Black Business Month. And we could not end this month without having a conversation with Corey Griffith, who is the president, chair. I'm sorry, Corey, did I get that right?
You did. You got it right.
Of the Greater Washington Black Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to Win TV.
Thank you, Denise. Always great to be with you and great to see you.
Yeah. It's Black Business Month. What does that mean to you?
Well, as chair of this great organization, which is really a purpose to help Black businesses to start, to grow and scale, having a month focused on that very effort is really important. I akin it to Black History Month, where the world gets an opportunity to be focused on the matters that are important for Black history, and in this case, the issues that are pertinent to the success of Black businesses.
We just came through a pandemic, which meant that a lot of businesses were impacted because they had to close, they lost staff, all of that. What do you see on the horizon? We know that it was devastating to all businesses, but especially to Black businesses over the last 2.5 years. But looking forward, what do you see? Is there a light at the end of the tunnel, or are we still sort of digging ourselves out of this pandemic mess?
Well, I'll say this. You're absolutely right. I mean, we actually started our chapter of the Black Chamber in July of 2019, and inside of about 7 or 8 months, we were fully engulfed in this pandemic. And so we know that our businesses in particular were adversely impacted and disproportionately impacted. Many of the startups didn't survive, particularly in the spaces of restaurants and food businesses. A lot of our businesses just did not survive. And in terms of sort of looking forward, we are hopeful. Let me say that on the outset. But I think we have to also, as the rest of the world is sort of looking at the state of the global economy, and in particular for those in our interest, the state of the U.S. economy and our local economy, thus looking at what it looks like for the Black business economy. So while we remain optimistic, we are obviously tracking all of the global data around the things like the talk of recession, the talk of the reality of inflation. So we know that that is absolutely having an impact on our businesses. So as we continue to monitor that, we are also programming in a way that requires us to partner with our government here in DC. They've been an awesome partner and sort of helping us to resource the needs of the Black business community in a multitude of ways, and most of which has been afforded us the opportunity to partner with them around technical assistance so that we can help our Black businesses be armed with the information they need to at least try to mitigate some of the impact of both the pandemic and now this perhaps this looming recession that we have.
I mean, you've really kind of said it already, but I'm going to ask you sort of point blank. Why would a Black business, or why should a Black-owned business be a member of the Greater Washington Black Chamber of Commerce?
Well, absolutely. I appreciate the question, and it's not redundant. It is actually, I mean, we should, like every organization, have a proposition for folks, right? And so what we offer, aside from the technical assistance and access to information, is the opportunity to network. I mean, we, in many ways, are sort of relaunching our effort. Again, we launched in July of 2019, right as we were getting our legs under us. Of course, the pandemic impacted us and shut businesses down and shut the economy down. And now we've been really working hard to get repositioned and refooted. So our government, the District of Columbia, has been very, very helpful in making resources available for us. So you can look forward to a new a revised strategy around the Black Chamber of Commerce, which include not only technical assistance, not only opportunities for networking, but programming where people can be involved to hear about access to capital. We're really interested in making certain that we identify businesses that are ready to scale and grow. And it's our hope that we'll be able to make investments in those companies and in those ideas. And we'll do that because we've been granted funds from the District of Columbia, which will give us the opportunity and the scope to do some of that. And then beyond that, I mean, we really want to also sort of facilitate the opportunity for Black businesses to do business with each other. And then we have a wealth of corporate interest in this city and in this region that have approached the Black Chamber of Commerce, and they've asked, can we help identify Black businesses that are ready to grow, that are ready to scale, that perhaps even need some support and investment, but we want to be partnered with them. And so we're going to be facilitating that as well.
Because I have two millennials as children, and I always say, you know, when they're 60 years old, they'll still be millennials. So they're aging millennials. But one of the things I've learned from them is that the pandemic actually grew or seeded, let's put it that way, a lot of independent young entrepreneurs in the city. And I don't know if you've had a chance to look at, you know, the areas where they have really either planted those seeds or, you know, are growing, and if, you know, what your outreach is to these young entrepreneurs and how you might be supporting them. I mean, I know they do everything. We just had Elliot, you know, with Soul Mega Beer Company, and so there are a few of those in the city. What's your, you know, how does the Greater Washington Black Chamber of Commerce reach out to some of these young business owners? Well,
through great, innovative, really creative and awesome programs like yours. So we'll take this opportunity to say, work with us, be a part of the Black Chamber of Commerce, join the Black Chamber of Commerce. But I'll take a step further. You know, one of the things that we really are attempting to do, or I am asking our board to consider, is expanding the board to include some young people who are going to keep us.
I don't know if your board members would like to hear that, Corey. They probably think there are young people.
Well, no, I appreciate that. But I know that I'm no longer considered to be a young person in some certain context.
I thought that was but go ahead.
So, listen, we want to recruit some young people to be active with us, right?
Yes.
We want to facilitate them to have the opportunity to talk about what they are doing, bring their ideas forward, to use the power of the Black Chamber and our networks to promote their work and their innovation. But we also need them to be board members. We want them to work alongside us. And so we're actively recruiting people who are interested in not only being a part of what we do, but also providing leadership and to help us to be relevant for a long time. Again, this is really about identifying the Black business space and then growing that, and then helping those who are part of it to grow and scale. We can't do that if we are just made up of a body of people that are my age and who are, I'm looking forward to retirement at some point. But there are a lot of young people who are just starting, and we need people on both ends, business owners on both ends, and people in the middle, right? And that's how we create a legacy organization that lasts for as long as we are here in the District of Columbia, which I suspect will be forever. We obviously have a great legacy of Black business in this town. And so we want to continue. And the reason why we started our chapter of the Black Chamber was for that very reason, because we understood that there were lots of people, Black entrepreneurs, who either had ideas and needed to find ways to get started, or who had been in business and we're looking to grow and scale. And obviously we have legacy businesses in this town like yours, who we are so privileged to have you all at the table to help us understand how to press forward in these most difficult times, and also cast a vision for the future.
Well, I guess I should, fully disclose that I am a board member. One of those, okay, maybe not younger board members. So
I think young with lots of wisdom. We'll go with that one.
Okay, so we want to put up here though, how can businesses become a member of the Greater Washington Black Chamber? And do you have to be in DC, or is it, because it says Greater Washington?
Yeah,
is it open to businesses in the DMV?
It is. We're open to businesses in the DMV. We're open to businesses wherever you are. If you do business in the District of Columbia or in the region and you happen to be based someplace else, we're happy to have you be a part of our membership. You can go to our website. It's www.gwbcc.org. That's GW for Greater Washington Black Chamber of Commerce, bcc.org. And you can go there and sign up as a member. As a standard member, our membership is just at $300 or below. You can join and get engaged with us right away. We'll add you to our mailing list and our outreach list and get you engaged. In fact, we have some programming scheduled for Monday. Working with the Department of Insurance and Securities and Banking in the District of Columbia. They have money. They have lots of money, and the money is structured and geared to support Black businesses. So I encourage you to come out. I think it starts at 5 o'clock, from 5 to 8. But feel free to reach out to us also on Instagram or Facebook. We have, if you're interested in attending that event or the others that we have planned in the months to come, by all means, please reach out.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, if that's not reason enough, because you know where the money is and that's geared towards Black businesses, then that means somebody doesn't want any money and they're fine. But if you do, and you need that kind of support and information, this is the place to go, gwbcc.org. Corey, thank you so very much for being with us today. We're going to find another occasion coming up. We've got the holidays, all kinds of times to talk about Black businesses. So let's make sure that we keep this conversation going.
Okay. Well, thank you, Denise, as always. Love the Washington Informer. It's such an amazing and important part of Washington, D.C. and the fabric. So we appreciate your support and your leadership at the Greater Washington Black Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Okay.
Corey. All right. Best wishes. So I want to thank you all. Of course, we, like I said, we can talk Black businesses all day, all night. This is Black Business Month, as Corey Griffith said. This is the time to really, it's almost like Black History Month, but there's Black Business Month. And we are so proud of some of the businesses that we're showing on the screen right now. They don't represent even maybe one iota of the Black-owned businesses in DC, but they're very popular businesses. And we would encourage you, not only during the month of August, because it's almost over, but every day, consider a Black business first. And when you're thinking about your consumer needs, whether it's a business, whether it's holiday shopping, whether it's special events or whatever. Consider a Black-owned business. And of course, consider the Washington Informer. We have great rates. So having said that, you can reach us at washingtoninformer.com. Ron Burke is our advertising and marketing director. So we'd be glad to hear from you. We're going to sign off now. It's the end of August. Can you believe it? When we see you again, it's going to be September, and we're talking about fall. So have a great weekend. You know, make sure you make it to the Soul Mega Fest. You know, look at the calendar for DC Jazz Fest. And if you got family or friends coming to town, you know where to take them. Half the events are free. So you don't have to spend any money on them. Of course, you know, you might have to buy them a soda or something. But anyway, thanks so much for joining us. And we will see you this time, this place next week. Have a great weekend.